At some point while I'm working at Eaton Park, I realized that one of my coworkers does stamp bags. Through conversation, she brought it up and I'm like, damn, I used to sell stamp bags. I can get it for you. She's like, for real? Because I'd rather cop from you than anybody else. Because me and her was cool as a white lady.
Alright, so boom, check it. Now ain't that how every great story started out? Now why would mine be any different? These are the Chronicles of Mike Murphy.
Welcome back to the Chronicles of Mike Murphy with your narrator, comedian Mike Murphy. One of the best storytellers to ever do it, in my humble opinion. Now this is the third and final episode of a 3-part series where I tell you how I went from serving time to serving my country. So if you like the first two, man, like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know and share this video with somebody you think will enjoy it just like you did. So in the last episode, I tell you the judge releases me to my father on home detention because my mother is strung out on drugs. Now I still have to go to court for the final hearing, but until that day, she's releasing me to live with my father. So we go home to the house in Wilkinsburg, and my dad tells me like, yo, we're in the process of moving to this suburb, a predominantly white suburb outside of Pittsburgh called North Versailles. They had already bought the house. They were closing on it, and we were moving in a couple of weeks. Now, North Versailles isn't super far, but it's about 3 buses away from any kind of distraction or negative influence from the people in my neighborhood. So when I'm out there, I'm just out there. And I can't just go see my friends or get a ride. It ain't that easy. So my dad was like, this is going to benefit my son because he's not going to be in that environment anymore. Because he's trying to save me. You know what I mean? He sees that I'm on a path of destruction and he's doing all he can in his power to stop me from that. Now, he didn't buy that house for that because that wasn't even... You know, that was already happening, but it was going to benefit me. So fast forward, we're moving to the new house in North Versailles at the end of August. I remember this because on the very last trip in the U-Haul that we were taking out to the house, it came over the radio that Aaliyah had died. And I remember being like, damn, Aaliyah died. That's crazy. Like, I had her first album. And I'm like, you know, kind of messed up about it. And he was like, you worried about the wrong damn thing. Worrying about some celebrity who don't know you dying. You need to worry about that damn court case. I'm thinking like, hey, bro, I don't know what one has to do with the other. I can worry about both, but that's how he was. He was just like, just a grumpy, just mean, just an asshole. You know what I'm saying? So instead of me being like, oh, man, you bugging, I was like, yeah, you right, sir. Like, I didn't want no smoke with him because he'd put hands on me fast. You know what I mean? He didn't play no games. He was not one of them dads. So anyways, we move into the house. Now, I'm expecting to get sent away somewhere because this is my second offense. I'm thinking maybe Vision Quest Boot Camp, which is a 3-month program. Maybe George Jr., which is like an 8-month program, and it's like 45 minutes away from my house. But I'm hoping it ain't Glen Mills, which is in Philadelphia. That's like 5 hours away. And there'd be a lot of fights up there because the Philly boys didn't like the Pittsburgh boys. And the main reason was because in Philly, when they fight, all they do is throw their hands. Wrestling, they consider that cheating. In Pittsburgh, Western Pennsylvania, we're wrestling, like, most fights is couple punches, let's wrestle. You know what I mean? So that's why they didn't like us. So I didn't want to go there, but I know I'm going somewhere because it's my second offense. And there's no CIS program that I already did once out where I live. So I'm like, they're definitely going to send me away. So now my manipulative mind starts working. Like, how can I try to get out of this? She already likes my dad, thinks that he's a good dude and he's going to be like the disciplinarian that I need. So maybe I can like finagle that somehow. So I'm thinking about ways to get out of it. So then I realized I'm going to tell them I want to join the military, the Army. My cousin Quay Mack just joined the Marines a year ago. He's doing well. I'm going to say, yo, I see what he's doing. I want that life too. I realize ain't nothing for me in the hood. I want to change my life. I want to do better for myself. I want to be somebody that my dad and my mom can be proud of. I'm spinning it like that. I'm telling my dad this. He's like all on deck. Like, oh yeah, you need discipline. That'll get you right. I think that's a good idea. My stepmom's on deck. My mom is like, I don't know. I'm afraid. I'm like, nah, I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to the Army, right? I'm not going to the Army. I'm just telling them that and I'm selling it because I want to get out of this court case. So when we finally get to the hearing, the court hearing, the judge we're talking or whatever, and the cops bring in the witness, which was the drug addict that I served. They bring him in. He's telling a story like, yeah, he was the one that gave it to me, da-da-da. My lawyer's like, hold on, time out. how reliable is this witness? Y'all didn't even charge him with possession. He had drugs. You didn't charge him. Now, how I should have went is they should have charged him and then gave him a deal once he cooperated. But instead, they didn't charge him. They just let him go, which is not the cops' job to not enforce the law. So my lawyer was tearing them up. You know what I mean? So basically, the judge looking at the cops like, are you serious? Like, you want to sit in my courtroom and just tell me you broke the law right in front of me and I'm not supposed to do nothing? So I'm still thinking that she's still going to think I'm guilty somehow, even though I didn't have no drugs on me. I say, Your Honor, I know you probably think I'm guilty. I promise you I wasn't. I was just hanging with the wrong crowd, wrong place, wrong time. I was being around people that were doing stuff that's illegal. I wasn't. I'm doing it like that. I don't want to be around them people no more. I want to join the military when I graduate high school. Like, I want to make something out of myself. You know, I'm selling the same thing that I done sold everybody else, right? I'm like, but if you convict me of this thing that I didn't actually do, I'm going to have 2 felonies on my record, and then I'm not going to be able to join the military. And then you know how it is for black men and in this world, especially young black boys. Like, I got 2 felonies. I'm never going to get a job. It's just going to be a repetitive cycle. I'm hitting her with all these buzzwords that I learned through like the judicial system that I'm manipulating with. So she's like, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to suspend this sentence. I'm like, what's that mean? She's like, you're going to be on probation for 6 months, but if you do everything that we're requiring from you, the case will get thrown out. You won't have a record. You'll be off. We'll close the case. It'll be good. I'm like, okay, cool. What are those requirements? Had to get a job, maintain a 3.0 or higher in school. It was little things. I can't remember everything, but those were 2 major things, my grades and I had to get a job. And so I'm like, all right, cool. So as soon as we get back to the house, I start trying to get in touch with a recruiter to sell the idea. I get in touch with this recruiter. His name was Sergeant Hennington. I link up with him. He takes me. I do the ASVAB test. I score high. I do everything I need to do to join the Army except for sign a dotted line because I didn't finish high school yet, so I got to wait. So I'm making it look as real as possible. Like, did I really want to do this so they don't think that I'm lying? Then I go to look for jobs. It's like the end of August, maybe the first week of September. But August and September in Pittsburgh is hot as hell. I got on a full suit, dress shoes, and had to walk 2 miles from my house to where all the like jobs was at. Now, this ain't when you could just go online and fill out applications. You got to go in and fill out paper applications at every place you want to work. My dad's at work, so he can't take me. And my stepmom is like, nah, you wanted to be grown out there selling drugs. You find your own way to these places to put these apps in. I'm like, bet. I walk 2 miles to Lincoln Highway, which is Route 30 in Norfolk Sales. They got Burger King, McDonald's, Walmart, an ice cream place, a Brewster's ice cream, PNC Bank, a bunch of different places. And they had a diner called Eaton Park. It's like a Denny's or an IHOP, open 24 hours. So I'm planning it out. Like, once I get down, I'm going to start on one side and loop my way around all the businesses and come back down and then go home. I do all that, probably put in like 10 applications. The last place I'm applying to is Eaton Park. I go in there, I fill out the application. The manager comes out, asks me a few questions, hires me on the spot. Now I was mad, but I was happy at the same time. I was pissed because had I went there first, I wouldn't have had to do all that other walking and fill out all those other applications. But I was glad I did get a job, so that's one less thing I got to worry about my PO asking me about. So I'm like, boom, got a job. My parents going to be happy. Cool, I go home. I got a job. They're like, that's good. Now you can start helping out around the house. I'm like, oh, this is crazy, bro. Like, damn, can I save my checks? Anyways, I get the job. I do the Army thing, like I said, do all that stuff. I'm pretty much a model student in school. I'm getting all A's and B's. They love me there. I'm behaving. Everything's going well. I'm doing great at work. Everything's going good. One day I get home from work and my dad got some white powder on the table. Like, what the hell is this? I'm telling you, P.O., your ass is getting out of my house tomorrow. I'm sending you up. I gave you a second chance. I'm like, whoa, what are you talking about, bro? He's accusing me of selling drugs again in his house. It's like some white powder. I'm like, bro, I don't know what that is. Like, I'm damn near about to cry because he about to ruin my life about something that I have nothing to do with. I'm like, bro, that's not mine. Like, what are you talking about? My stepmom is defending me. She don't believe it's mine. But my dad don't. He ain't trying to hear nothing. He's going off on every name in the book. He's cussing me out. He about to put his hands on me. I'm just like, I'm in shambles. You know what I mean? So what happened was when my dad bought that house, it was a duplex with a unit on each side. Him and my Aunt Joanne bought that house together. So we live on one side, my Aunt Joanne and her family live on the other. Now, my Aunt Joanne was messing with this dude named Slice. It was a super odd couple because he was a young black dude, like a year older than me, like 19 or something. And she was in her 50s or something. You know what I'm saying? Late 40s, like an old white woman. They said they wasn't messing around, but to this day, we know they was. But he was a street dude. He was selling drugs. So what happened was one of my older sister April's ex-boyfriends was copping off a Slice. He told him to meet him out there. Slice busted the move in our basement, which is my room. And I guess he dropped a little bit on the ground. My dad finds it. So when we're arguing everything, Slice come over like, oh, my bad, Mr. Royce, like, that was me. And he tells what happened. Like, nah, Mike ain't into that. So my dad is like, all right. My dad never said sorry. My dad was just like, yeah, you better not be selling shit in my house. Like, it was awful. I'm like, damn, bro. Like, you ain't gonna say sorry? So that got cleared up, but it made me mad because he didn't believe me and I was telling him the truth. So at some point while I'm working at Eaton Park, I realized that one of my coworkers does stamp bags. Through conversation, she brought it up and I'm like, damn, I used to sell stamp bags. I can get it for you. She's like, for real? Because I'd rather cop from you than anybody else. Because me and her was cool as a white lady. I'm like, bet, you got to do something for me in return. Though. She's like, what's that? I'm like, for New Year's, you got to buy my liquor because I ain't old enough. Me and my friends is having a house party. She's like, that's nothing. I'm like, bet. So I start serving her. She's getting me liquor. She's buying me bullets for guns that my boys got. Like, I'm still back into this criminal lifestyle because I really never planned on changing. I just was doing enough to make it look like I was changing. And what made me stop selling drugs to her was the fact that someone had overdosed in Norfolk Sales and they said there was a bad batch of dope going around, and that scared me. I didn't want to kill nobody and be charged with murder for selling drugs. So I just kind of quit, took cold turkey, left it alone. Like, nope, I ain't doing that at all. But then me and my dad started butting heads again, and I tried to move back home with my mom once those 6 months was up. I told y'all they suspended that sentence. So in my head, once this case is closed, I'm moving back with my mom. He ain't gonna be able to say nothing to me. He finds out about it, calls my PO and says, my son is not gonna graduate if y'all close this case before so, because he's already planning to move back with his mom. And once y'all close that case, I'm not gonna be able to stop him. The PO says, don't worry about it. Makes a call to the judge. They extend my probation to where they're not closing the case until after I graduate high school. I was like, you dirty mother. I was so mad at my dad. I was like, I hate you, man. Like, and I ain't say that to him. He would whoop my ass. But I said it to myself because I was scared. I was a hoe ass nigga. So I didn't say it to him. I said it to me. But I was so mad about it. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, he did that. That was probably the best thing he could have done for me. So fast forward, I graduated from high school. My dad is proud. My mom is proud. My stepmom, everyone's proud of me. I finally made it, which it didn't look like I was going to make it based on the 2 charges I had within the last 2 years. But now it's time to, are you going to the Army or not? And I'm thinking to myself, no, I'm not. You know what I mean? But I'm playing it off like, oh, I got to meet the dude. And I'm saying all the stuff to buy time. I go to work maybe 2 or 3 days after my birthday. My birthday is June 10th. It was like the 12th or 13th. I go to work and me and my manager is a white dude named Dean get into it about something. He's wrong, but he's the manager, so he thinks that no one's able to say anything to him. We're going back and forth arguing, and I said, I ain't doing it. He said, you'll do whatever I tell you, you N-word. And I was like, what? He's like, and like I said, do what I'm telling you right now or you're fired. I took off that wet, nasty food caked on apron, balled it up, and hit Dean in the face with the apron and was like, I quit. And I'm telling my dad. Now I'm thinking my dad gonna go down there and put hands on son because he called me the N-word and he disrespected me. When I go home and tell my dad, I'm like, yeah, he did this, da-da-da-da-da. He like, you a grown man now. You got 2 weeks to find another job or you're getting out of my house. I'm like, what? I'm like, you're not gonna go down there? He said, so you want me to go down there and fight him, man, because he called you a word? He said, a lot of people gonna call you bad words. They're gonna say stuff to you don't like. As a man, you got to keep your composure and not fly off the handle and do something to lead you back in jail. But you don't know nothing about that because you keep finding yourself there. He's schooling me. And I'm like, man, you weak, dog. Like, you a coward. That's what I'm thinking. Again, I'm not saying it. But that's what I'm thinking because I'm thinking you're supposed to ride for your son. But what I realize is he's teaching me an invaluable lesson. That if you let your emotions take control of you and you do something out of emotion, you can find yourself in a world full of hurt. And men aren't supposed to operate out of emotion. Now, I ain't going to lie and say I never do it. There are times that I do react out of emotion, but I'm working on it. But without having my dad instilling that in me, I'll probably be moving like a woman or a child, just letting my emotions get the best of me. So I thank God that he instilled that in me, and I never forgot him saying that. So I got 2 weeks to get another job where he's kicking me out the house. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't even know if I want to stay there. I'm not going to college. I don't know what. I feel defeated. So I say, you know what? Bet. I go down to Eden Park. I get my last check. I cash it right across the street at the PNC Bank. It was $235. No, sorry, $225. I was making $5.50 an hour. That was what minimum wage was at the time. My check was $225 an hour. I cashed it. I got on a bus. I caught the bus from North Versailles to Wilkinsburg, and then from Wilkinsburg to East Liberty. I could have got on one more bus to go from East Liberty to Garfield, which is my hood, but it was nice outside. It was sunny. It was hot. And I got off in East Liberty where it's like a big shopping area. David Shoes, Sneaker Villa, Ace Athletics. It's a bunch of, I think Mo Gear was there. There's a bunch of stores. So everybody's out. I'm like, yo, there's probably some honeys down here. I'm about to see what it's hitting for. So instead of catching another bus, I'm going to just walk through East Liberty and go to the hood. But I was going to the hood to take that $225 and buy drugs and re-up. And I was going to tell my grandmother, yo, I'm moving in with you. Can I stay here? Because I'm not living with my dad no more. My grandma would have let me. That was my plan. I swear to God. I was taking that $225 to go buy some work. I'm walking through East Liberty. I stopped in a couple shoe stores, looked around, window shopping, didn't buy nothing. The recruiting station that I went to and act like I was joining is on Penn Avenue. I have to walk past it to go to Garfield. Swear to God. It's not there anymore, but it used to be. I'm walking past the recruiting station. Swear to God, right hand of God. Sergeant Hennington walks out as I'm walking past. We damn near bump into each other. He's going out to smoke a cigarette. Tall black dude from Mississippi. He's like, man, where the hell you been at? Because I've been ignoring his calls. He's trying to get me enlisted because I graduated. He's like, I've been calling you. What the hell are you doing? I was like, oh, nah, I'm about to do this. I just want to chill for like a couple weeks before, the summer's here. He know I'm lying to him. He's like, where you going? I'm like, I'm about to go visit my grandma. He like, nah, no, you ain't. I can see it in your eyes. You want me to call your dad right now? I'm like, nah, what you talking about, Sarge? Like, I'm about to just go visit my grandma. I ain't seen her in a minute. She missed me. He's like, nah, you about to go to that hood and get in trouble, ain't you? You about to buy some drugs. What you got going on? I'm like, buy drugs? Come on, man. What you talking about? And my spirit was shaking. Like, how does he know this? I'm like, nah, brother. He's like, man, get your ass in here. Grabs me by my shoulder, pushes me into the recruiting office. I had an official Jawan Howard Wizards jersey on with the letters and stuff stitched on. You can't go to the federal building, which is where the MEPS is at. That's like the military in processing place, with sleeveless shirts on. He pushes me into the recruiting office, goes in a box, pulls out a Army of One recruiting t-shirt or something, throws it at me and was like, take that jersey off and put that on. We're going to go down there and sign your ass up right now. I'm not playing with you because I know you about to ruin your life and I ain't letting you do that. I didn't work too damn hard on you. And I'm like, nah, sorry. He was like, put the shit on and we're going down there. And at that time, all I could see was my dad's face in Sergeant Hennington's face. Like, damn, this dude is serious. And I didn't want him to tell my dad. My dad would have beat my ass if he found that out. I was trying to sneak and just go live with my grandma and not tell him. Put the t-shirt on. We get in the recruiting car. We drive downtown. We go into MEPS, the federal building. We go upstairs. He got all my paperwork because I did everything I told you. All I had to do was sign. We go in there. I think they did the physical that day too, I think. I'm not certain. I can't remember. Maybe I already did it. Maybe I didn't. But maybe I did the physical. I passed that. They sit me down with I think they call him a career counselor. You pick your job based on what you qualify for from your ASVAB test. They say infantry. I'm not doing that. Underwater welder. I was like, I don't want to do that. Oh my God. Underwater welder. You know how much bread they make? I had no clue. Passed up on that. Said a couple more jobs. I don't want to do that. I want to do that. He was like, field artillery got a bonus. I'm like, what's that? Basically, you shooting tanks. You shooting rounds out of a tank. I'm like, okay, what's the bonus? 5 years, $17,000. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, hold on 1 second. Came back like, oh, I'm sorry. 5 years, $20,000. I was like, yep. Sign right there. 13 Bravo, cannon crew member, field artillery, king of battle, king of war. I said, let's go. I signed up, and that day was June 26th. Because I told you, I quit the job June 12th or 13th or whatever that was. I left. I went back to get my last check, whenever that was. And on June 26th, I got on that bus to go back and cop work in Garfield and got derailed by Sergeant Hennington and signed my contract. I didn't even tell nobody. I came home and told my Uncle JR, yo, I joined the Army. I'll leave August 13th. He's like, what? What kind of deal did you get? Because he was in the Air Force. He wanted to make sure I didn't get screwed. He looked at my contract. He was like, you did good. You did better than I did. He's like, now don't mess it up. I'm like, bet. From June to August, I end up staying with my grandmother for those last 2 months because I went to hang out with my friends before I left. My dad okayed it and was like, it's cool. And when I moved in with my grandmother, my sister moved out and then moved with my dad because still my mom is still on drugs real bad. So me and my sister swap places. I go to my grandma's, she goes to my dad's because she needs his structure now. I'm living with my grandma 3 or 4 days before I'm shipping out to go to boot camp. I'm at this thing, it's called the regatta. A regatta is a boat race. At the point where the Three Rivers meet in Pittsburgh, they used to have this regatta the first weekend of August every year. And it's popping down there. It's like, we going down there to meet Honeys. Honeys is going down there to meet the dudes. That's what it is. They got good food, cheese fries, chicken on a stick, all that stuff. It's the spot to be in August. So I go down there. It's me, my man Lex, my man Tracy, and my little cousin Hutch. We're all hanging out. And we're leaving the first day. And this girl is walking out of McDonald's with her two dudes, and she's like pregnant a little bit. And she keep looking back at my little cousin Hutch, like flirting with him, right? The dude catches it. Now it's a little, we interacting. I'm like, yo, chill, bro. I'm basically trying to break it up. Like, yo, your girl was looking at him. We don't want no problem. We leaving. Dude's talking crazy. And I'm like, thinking like, yo, we'll pop you, fam. Like, we got the heat down here. Like, you better chill out. So his man is like, bro, I got him. I'm going to get my man. I'm like, yeah, bro, get him. We just trying to chill. Everything was kind of cool. The homeboy was straight. My cousin ain't saying nothing. We ain't saying nothing. We like, bet. We get in the car. We leave. As we're driving past them dudes, I don't remember who it was. One of the dudes sticks his head out of the window of my sister April's Pontiac Sunfire, the sunroof, and was like, you hoe ass nigga, says something like that. And dude was like, word? Like, it was unnecessary. Like, come on, bruh. Anyways, the next day, my man Mark Starks had an all-white authentic Eddie George jersey, and I stole it out of his room, ran out the house, and was like, I'm wearing this to the regatta. He was so mad at me, like, that jersey costs $225. If you mess it up, you're replacing it. I'm like, I ain't gonna mess it up, bro. I was trying to look fly, you know what I'm saying? This joint was clean. I had some brand new Air Force Ones on, white joints, some fat form jeans. I thought I was the man. Me, Lex, my man Ty, and some dude named Joe Holla were down there. Joe Holla got a video camera. We all rapped together. I used to rap. We sitting on this park bench, and the dude from yesterday is down there with like 12 dudes now. Sees me and was like, yeah, what was that shit you was talking yesterday? I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, I'm about to get jumped and ruin his jersey. Oh, my man Mark the 2 1/4 and get beat up on tape. Like, it's mad people down here. Luckily, the dude that was with him yesterday was like, nah, y'all ain't jumping him. Dude was cool. He could have really said it on you, and he didn't. Nah, y'all not jumping him. Yo, you cool, fam, bro. You good, man. We don't want no problems. I'm like, thanks, bro. Like, oh my God, saved my life. But I remember Joe Holla just walked away. It was just me and Lex about to get jumped by like 12 dudes. And I remember thinking, I'm smoking this nigga. It ain't over with yet. I went back to Garfield to see my cousin Kenny and get a gun off him. And I remember him being like, you sure you want to do this? Ain't you leaving to go to the military in a couple of days? And I was like, yeah, that's why I can do it and get away with it and nothing will happen. He was like, nah, I can't give you the gun. I'm like, all right, we got a gun from somewhere. And we roll back down or we see these dudes. As soon as we drive them by, we about to do a drive-by. We see the cops pull up for some other reason and hit their lights. And they're like, hey, clear out. Everybody move. We're like, oh, just keep driving. And we drove off. That was like divine intervention. I could have shot dude and got arrested, went to jail, life over with. So I get to basic training. I fly out a couple days later. Thank God. I get the basic training. I still want to be a hood dude. I'm talking to my drill sergeants like, yeah, you think you a man? They tearing my ass up. Pause. They smoking me. That means like making me do push-ups and sit-ups. It took me so long to break me out of this street mentality that when I finally got broke out of it, I became like one of the best soldiers they had. And I started being like, yo, I got to do something to make my parents proud of me. Everything I was doing in the military was to make them proud. So I graduated my drill sergeant said, I think you're going to do really well in the military. You smart, you tough. You got the discipline now. Just keep your head on straight, man, and you can make a career out of this. I'm like, cool. I get to my duty station. Everything is going good. We find out like 3 weeks after I get there that we're deploying to Iraq. Now, my grandmother, she's nervous. She don't want her baby going to Iraq. So they used to have a rule where if you was your father's only son, you could be non-deployable because you got to keep the legacy going, right? That doesn't work no more. If you sign up, you sign up. But my grandma don't know that. She calls my father, tells my father to call my unit to tell them that's my only boy. He can't go to war. I got to keep the name going on. I'm not even named after my dad. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, how's that going to work? My commander calls me in the office, says, yo, your dad called, we could afford to keep you back. I said, what? Hell no, I'm going. I ain't about to be the dude staying back. I want to go fight this war, serve my country. I make a big deal. My captain's like, okay, you're good. You can go. I ain't going to stop you. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, I call my dad. Don't ever make that call again. He's like, man, I ain't even want to. Your grandma. I'm like, I don't care. You don't owe her nothing. Don't call again. He's like, all right, son. Hangs up. I told my grandma, yeah, I love you, grandma, but don't do that. Like, I'm a man now. I got to stand on my own too. Baby, I don't want you to go. Yeah, I'll be all right. I go to war. I do well. I come back. I'm soldiering. I get promoted to corporal fast. Most people don't make it to corporal. They go from specialist to sergeant. I made it to corporal, which is the same pay grade as a specialist, but you're a non-commissioned officer, NCO. While I'm a corporal, they volunteered me to go to NCO of the month boards, where it's basically like you sit down in front of a bunch of high-ranking sergeant majors and first sergeants, and they ask you general Army knowledge. It's like Jeopardy for the military. I win the first month. I win the second month. I win NCO of the quarter. Long story short, I won NCO of the year for the whole 4th Infantry Division, and I came in second place for NCO of the year for 3 Corps. I really should have won because the person who did win wasn't even technically eligible to compete, but I ain't snitch. I let her have her little win or whatever. Then I went to Iraq, served my country again. I got out honorably. It was the best thing that I could have ever done, man. And I learned so much from having a father in my life that kept me on the right path. He wasn't always in my life, but he was there when I needed him the most. And I'm forever grateful for that. He's no longer with us, but I love my dad for that because he saved my life when my mom was struggling with her addiction. She's clean now. The military was the best thing that happened to me, and it made me the man I am today. And when I got home, the second job I got after I got out the military was working for the CIS program that I once was a client in. I came back as a success story to teach those kids that they didn't have to make the same mistakes I did, and they can learn from me and not their own lessons. A smart person learns from his own mistakes. A wise person learns from the mistakes of others. I wanted them to be able to learn from my mistakes and not continue to perpetuate the same cycle of violence and criminal activity that plagues most of the ghettos in America. So I did that job for 2 years. I gave it my all. I ended up leaving that job, but it all came from the role my father played and then the military making me I am today. So I don't want to glorify anything I did when I was a child. I regret a lot of it. Well, I don't want to say I regret it, but I wish that I wouldn't have done some of it, but I know that it led to where I am today. So I'm thankful that those things took place. But if you watching this and you know somebody who's going through something similar, show them this video, man. Tell them that there's more out there than a life of crime, because at the end, it only leads to death or prison, and there's no escaping that. So this was the 3-part episode of how I went from serving time to serving my country. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, like, subscribe, comment, share it with a friend, tell somebody my story, and I appreciate all the support. Thank you. Until next time, I am Mike Murphy.